Welcome to the ChrissieCast live from the compound, where I chat to a regular crew of my friends, plus interesting people from all over the world. You are in my house now, so please do make yourself at home. Today, my wonderful friend, actor, comedian, dancer, and all-round good egg, Christie Whelan-Browne, makes her debut for her regular pop-ins to the compound. You'll hear how a bonkers New Year's resolution from me brought us together. We talk Plumber Poo panic, and my new favourite thing ever makes its debut. Christie commenting on stupid articles in the voice of her mum Shirley. Get ready for that, ChrissieCasters. It's the first of many episodes with Christie Whelan-Browne. Welcome to the ChrissieCast, Christie Whelan-Browne. Very excited to see you.
Feels like a long time coming and we're here.
I know.
Hi, bestie.
Hi, bestie. Hey, let's talk about that first.
Okay.
About how we became to be besties.
Yeah.
You might not remember this, but it started with my New Year's resolutions.
Of course I remember.
You do remember. Because it's very odd. And I did search in my notes for my New Year's resolutions, which I write down in notes. I write everything down in notes. It says here, 2022 resolutions. Don't rush anywhere at any time. Make carrot cakes. Keep chopped fruit in the fridge always, like a hotel buffet. And then 3 simple words, Christie Whelan-Browne. So in carrot cakes, don't rush, chopped fruit in the fridge, Christie Whelan-Browne. I needed to make you my friend, and look at where we are now.
I know, but what put me there in 2022? What was it?
That's a really good question. I don't know.
I guess you were eating some cut up fruit and thinking, I really like that girl.
I must have seen you on something and gone, she's one of mine.
Isn't that so interesting? I mean, you've always been one of mine. You know, back in the day when people used to actually watch television.
Yeah.
And
I miss those days.
I know. We used to gather for Big Brother.
Yes.
And I don't even remember his name, but there he was, the villain, you know, and now every reality
I think
show.
you'll find his name was Ben Archbold. He was the ex-cop.
Yeah. But every reality show has a villain. But back then it was like, it was new, you know, he was the villain and no one was taking him down.
Yeah.
And there she came, our hero.
Crouching tiger, hidden Chrissie.
But the way you took him down, it was in this very classy, strong way. And I was like, I'm in love.
And then 20 years later, here we are.
It only took 20 years, but I got to you.
I love it. When you write something down, though, it tends to come true, I've found. I believe in that.
Well,
the fact that I wrote down Christie Whelan-Browne 3 years ago on my New Year's resolutions, there was no other way for it to unfold than exactly here right now together.
But you're a very easy person to be friends with. I feel like you could write anyone's name and they would be your friend.
That's not true.
Who couldn't love you?
Well, I feel like I can recognise people that won't make me feel weird for my lady madness. Do you know what I mean? I don't like to be made to feel like I'm too much. And maybe that's what I recognise in you. I thought, oh, she won't think I'm too much.
Yeah. I think we both admit to like embarrassing things that women don't tend to admit to each other.
Yes.
You know?
Let's do one now.
Okay.
The most recent one is I went to the toilet this morning and it was so big.
This is why I love you so much.
That the water rose. And I had that momentary panic of, oh my God, it's going to come out of the toilet. And I had to quickly grab a toilet brush and agitate it, make some room in the vacuum. And then it all sucked away and I thought, oh my God, crisis averted. What's yours? The PC, people don't talk about that. Why not? It's happened to everybody. Hasn't it? I don't know. Maybe it hasn't.
I would let it flow. If that happened, I couldn't poke around and stop it. I'd be like, it's coming and that's just, we're going to have to deal with it.
No, see, I've got a real fear of a plumber coming to the house and seeing toilet stuff.
Oh, God.
I will do anything to avoid that. And I think it comes from a bad memory I had when I was in my teens at home living with Mum, Pat Swan, and no one had told me that you can't flush sanitary products down the toilet. No one had told me that.
Don't tell me it was a pad.
No, it wasn't a pad. I think I would have known that you can't do that. But I was just flushing down the other bits and bobs with nary a care of the plumbing. Anyway, something went wrong with the toilet and a plumber had to come, and I was the one that was at home. And I was a teenager, so I didn't put two and two together. I didn't know that I didn't know what he was going to find.
Yeah.
And what he found was dozens of used tampons, my used tampons.
Yeah.
And from the moment that I saw that strange man, plumber, with handfuls of my very personal items.
Please tell me he was wearing gloves.
I don't think he was. Oh, he must have been, surely. And so from that point on, I thought that is never going to happen to me again. There is never going to be a plumber that knows that I have my period ever, that I have had it, or that I've done a poo. And I'll do anything at that moment of plumbing panic to try and fix it.
Do you want to know my plumber panic story? On a film set, the toilet situation is dire, like.
Always. Like, that's a niche market. Why don't you start that business?
I don't want to deal in toilets, really. It's not my passion. But so you get a trailer, and in the trailer is a toilet that it doesn't have a proper flush. You have to do this foot tap thing to make it go down. You only poo in there if it is an absolute emergency.
Yes.
On this day it was. And so there's also a thing where the truck has to be tied up to a water system or the toilet stops working. So little did I know the trailer I was in had been taken off the water system.
I mean, that would have been good knowledge to have.
It would. And it was a very cold day, so the heating was thumping in that little trailer. So I did my business in the toilet and then realised when I went to push the foot thing, it wasn't going anywhere and there was no water.
No.
And that heating was mixing with the toilet.
Christie.
And I had to go and find a man and say, the toilet's not flushing. And he was like, okay. And he had to go in there, the warm, pooey room, and deal with it. I don't know how. I went and hid somewhere until I was called onto set. But that, never will I poo at work ever again.
Yeah, that is a traumatic memory.
Yeah.
When I filmed The Masked Singer, there's one of those little trailers. The first time I've ever had one. It feels very fancy.
Oh, yeah, you feel very special.
Yeah, and the toilet, again, they're just always NQR, right? Anyway, Peg, my daughter, came up to see me on set. We're like a Judy Garland, Liza Minnelli sort of combo. Anyway, she had Mexican from the catering van, and you know what happens next.
I do.
I got a text when I was on set from my daughter saying, oh my God, I've just destroyed your trailer toilet. Which is what you do.
Yeah.
In a trailer toilet.
Did it go down?
No.
It stayed.
I had to call someone. Have you ever been on a cruise?
Yeah, I did one for 6 months.
You were on a cruise for 6 months?
Yeah.
When?
When I was in my 20s, in my youth. But I would sleep for 18 hours a day. I would close my, what do they call it?
Porthole.
My porthole. I was going to say portaloo. My porthole, and just sleep for hours and hours and hours.
Were you depressed?
I was heartbroken.
Why?
Someone had dumped me just literally as I walked up the gangplank. And
How did that what? By the way, it's over.
On the mobile. I had my flip 3 phone. He dumped me, and then I walked on, and it was just it was like Groundhog Day. The new passengers would come on, you'd do the same show, but it was Yeah, it was. But what I was going to say was the food, they put in a lot of extra oil or something so that the poos will slip straight down into the, I guess, where do they just let them go into the ocean or something?
I don't know where they go.
But so the toilets don't get clogged. The food is extra oily, so they'll just...
Oh, it's so disgusting. Let's move on from poo. So you and I are officially besties, despite only really spending a handful of moments together.
That were mostly by accident.
My favourite by accident one was when we were in the same country town, unbeknownst to each other, dining at the same restaurant.
And again, I went out and thinking, who's going to know me here? I wore a full grey tracksuit.
I know.
Hair just looked like an abomination. And there you were.
I was jumping out of my skin to see you.
Me too. And you always smell so good.
Do I?
Yeah. I really remember your scent.
Do you know why? That is a scent from my heyday.
Really?
Yeah, mid-90s.
What is it?
Angel.
Oh, I love Angel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your heyday?
Dewberry.
The Body Shop.
Yeah. Oh, they've gone under.
Oh, have they?
Yeah.
I loved White Musk.
Yeah. It was one or the other.
I
mean, come on.
Yeah.
Also a bit of vanilla, plain vanilla.
You are currently in the compound.
I am.
I've made you a cup of coffee in my kitchen.
Very strong, I might add.
Too strong?
No.
That's how I do mine, and I just assumed, given we're besties, that's how you have it.
Yeah.
There are a few points of interest that you've noticed. Do you want to talk about the Lazy Susan?
Well, the fact that your kitchen table has a Lazy Susan built in.
That's right.
I mean, it's ingenious. Did you have that made?
I saw it on Instagram and I realised it would revolutionise dinner times because no longer is, can you pass me the sour cream, please?
Yeah.
Can you pass me the sweet chilli sauce? You just give it a little tickle and it comes straight to you.
Are you one of those people who will dish up, put everything in the middle, or you dish up at the thing and that's just condiments?
No, I put the lamb shoulder in the middle, the flatbreads in the middle, the bowls of lettuce and tomato in the middle. Go for it.
Honestly, you amaze me. I've come in, she's got 3 loaves of bread ready to be made. She's got a sauce on the go. Like, I don't know how you do it.
What am I running from?
Let's not pull at that thread. No, but I have a 3-year-old. I have accomplished nothing this morning. I read a book while trying to get him to eat a Wheat Bix.
You're here.
That's it. I made it here.
You've got to take it easy on yourself. Having a very small human being that you are fully responsible for, that cannot be understated. The responsibility and stress of it, it's massive.
I remember on your Imperfects episode, you were talking about parenting and it was so inspirational. And like I just can imagine it changed so many people's lives listening to you, because I go back and revisit that episode all the time. But you were talking about parenting and then the boys said, oh, my kids are small, and you were like, oh, no, you can't be helped. You just have to live through that part. And that's how I feel. You just are surviving at this point.
Just surviving.
Yeah. Day
by day. It does get better. It really does. But in the thick of it, my God, you're just looking around going, what the fuck just happened?
I know. Or sometimes I find myself like painting a gum nut at 3 p.m, just thinking, what has happened to my life? Like I was once a functioning adult. And now I'm painting this gum nut. I don't want to paint a gum nut, and I don't want to have another tea party. You know, I don't want to.
Do you think the kids know that you're doing things you don't want to do? No.
He has no concept of what I want, whether I'm, like he keeps climbing over me to do stuff and he'll poke his little elbow straight into my nipple. And I say, that really hurts.
Think about it.
But he'll laugh. And so he thinks that's the game, that pointy little tiny elbow straight in my nipple every day. I don't like that. I don't want that.
Oh, no. And yet tomorrow it will happen again.
It will, and the next day.
Can you tell the story of how your 3-year-old Duke likes to leave the room from childcare.
He backs away with his arms open and he says, "Everyone clap for Dukey."
Do people clap for Dukey?
Sometimes, sometimes, and sometimes they don't. And he's not deterred when they don't. He's not upset. He says it again, and if he still gets no clap, he moves on. But it's not destroying his soul yet. But I do fear for the day that it hurts him or he feels embarrassed. You know, when does that happen, that you start to be embarrassed?
About who you are?
Yeah. At this point, he doesn't feel that at all. The other day he saw a friend and the friend goes, "Hi, Duke," and he goes, "It's a great day for flying." And the kid looked at him like he was insane and he didn't notice that that's how the kid looked at him. But I thought, I mean, what a weird thing to say.
So when does it happen? That's a really good question.
And it's sad that it happens.
It's so sad. And then we spend our whole lives trying to get back to everybody clap for Dukey.
Yeah. And there's going to be a person out there that destroys that part of him.
Yeah, I hate them.
I just hope it's not me.
It won't be you, which brings me to your kid pick.
Oh, my God.
I feel like we are all born the way we are. And don't you find that was my biggest lesson when I had kids of my own? I was like, I get it. They're not me.
Yeah.
They're their own person. And all of a sudden I realised that they're born this way, and it's my job, actually my only job, is to make sure that I don't break. I'm not the person that
And I
breaks
think you're
them.
amazing at that.
I hope so.
I think you are.
I just I make decisions and I treat them in a way that I can live with when they come to me and say, "You ruined my life."
Yeah. But also you're you. You're the you are with me, with anyone, you are with your kids, which I know sounds easy, but I don't know that that's always, you show them who you are.
I can't not. Having said that, there was a long time that I didn't. There was a long time I didn't, and it's bloody exhausting, Christie.
Yeah.
In your own home, pretending to be bloody Mrs. Cunningham from Happy Days.
But I remember when I said something to you, "Duke makes me want to do these things and I don't want to do them," and you said, "Just tell him you're not interested."
Yeah.
But I mean, he's 3. He doesn't care what I'm interested in.
Never too early. Never too early to start.
Yeah, look, I'll get on that.
I'm holding up a photograph of little Christie Whelan-Browne. It looks like you're in a house with Berber carpet.
Yeah, that was my rumpus room.
It's your rumpus room. So that's the 80s, is it? Early 80s?
That was late 80s. No, that was probably early 90s.
Really? How old are you here?
Oh, I don't even know, 5 or 6.
What did you like to do? What are you doing there, actually?
Am I painting my nails or something? I liked pretending I was running a beauty salon.
Yes.
And you remember when you'd go with your mum to get her nails done? My mum always had her nails done, and they would put she'd have the fake nails put on. I don't know what they used, something highly alcoholic. I don't know, something not right.
Acetone.
Yeah, no, it was like a mousse something, and they would build a nail out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's all back in fashion now.
Is it?
Yeah.
So I would go home and get actual mousse, like hair mousse, and squeeze it into a little pot and dab it on nails and pretend. I liked that. I liked like watching movie musicals, and I'd learn all the words. And
what's your favourite musical?
Of all time? Legally Blonde, the musical.
Really?
It is genius. I'm going to send you the soundtrack because it would really pump your tyres.
Would it?
Yeah. Just like female empowerment. She's just incredible.
Great. Okay. Back to little Christie.
She always felt that she was ugly. Isn't that horrible? I'm looking at her now and I'm like, she's so cute.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you feel that way?
I think going to dancing, I don't know, it didn't help. It didn't help with how I felt about myself.
Did you have a mean dance instructor?
I hope they're not listening. But
well, no. You know the greatest quote of all time
what?
is if people want you to speak warmly about them, they should have behaved better. You tell your story.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what it was, but it was just that I knew I wasn't one of the pretty little girls. It's horrible.
I want to find that woman. We were talking earlier about someone is going to break Duke. Did she break you a bit?
Yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Oh, my God, I feel so full of rage.
But there's many people that contributed to that feeling over a lifetime. You know, like to love yourself is to go up against all the people who told you shouldn't along the way. And isn't that just horrendous? But I'm sure I did that to other people. Like there's times in my life where I wasn't proud of who I was as a human being. It took a long time to evolve and become who I am now. But the thought of making someone feel less than at any time makes me just devastated.
But I imagine that you're the sort of person that wouldn't have done that on purpose.
No, I was.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what – like it's about the sisterhood. I never realised how much you need your sisters and that they're not your enemy. I don't know. Maybe growing up we weren't as exposed to that idea of sisterhood. And were you? Were you always a sister?
Yeah. Yeah, I was. There is sort of a narrative that I've always been confused by, which is women like to tear each other down and women can't work together. And I've read lots of articles and heard lots of in conversations about it. And I've always listened to it and gone, I have no experience with this at all. And yet, you know, there's people right in front of me telling me that that's their experience. And maybe you have had that experience then. I haven't.
Well, I think generally that sort of thing comes from insecurity, you know?
Right.
Like there's another female actress who is of a similar age to me. We do similar work, or we did when we were growing up, and I used to just despise her and despise the things the good things that would happen to her. It was just jealousy.
Yeah.
And I put it onto her. And then as I grew up, and she would be nothing but kind and beautiful to me. And I'd be like, oh, she's giving me this lip balm. Oh, what a witch, you know? And it's like, finally I was like, she is a divine creature. Have her on your team.
She's kind.
Yeah.
Kindness is a good thing.
Kindness and warmth, which is what you are, even though you just stuck your finger up at me.
I was merely wiping my cold nerves.
Anyway, now I know, and I wish that little girl knew, the sisters are you need your sisters always, and always treat them the same way you want to be treated. And I look at Duke and I think he is at the moment a healer and like so generous, talks to everyone he meets, and I want to hold that in him forever. I'm sure that's a very reasonable thing to expect.
How will you do that? Like if that's important for you as a parent.
I'll look to you for advice.
Speaking of the sisterhood, just before you arrived, the doorbell rang and I thought it was you, and I went down to greet you, and it was my oldest friend in the world, and I was so thrilled because you arrived soon after her and you got to meet each other.
Yeah.
The original bestie and the new bestie. So I've known Beck. We met in grade 5 at primary school, and she'd just started at the school. I'd been there for a year, and I remember the day very clearly that I met her. How awful is it to start at a new school, by the way?
The worst.
My God, the worst.
So you were at a new school?
I'd been there a year. Oh. It was her first day.
Okay.
And another girl had started on the same day as her from her previous school. No, a girl that had bullied my friend Beck, ended up being my friend Beck, didn't know her from a bar of soap, was already established. So imagine that. You're coming to a new school, the first face you see is a girl that terrorised you at your old school. Anyway, Beck ended up, and I totally understand it, under a table. And I think I saw the sort of corner of a school dress, and I looked under the table, and there she was sitting cross-legged under the table, and hard relate. I thought this is someone that I understand. So I got under the table with her and, I was like, what's going on? What's happening?
See, you were that hero that we saw on Big Brother. You were her hero that day in grade 5.
And then she became my hero. Honestly, I just don't know if I would have survived my teenage years, my life without her. Magical. And I think because I experienced that beautiful love of the sisterhood early on, I've been able to recognise it and share it, I guess.
I mean, I'm still very close with my grade 6 bestie. We're still besties.
Isn't
now.
it magical?
It's beautiful. And with her, I never behaved in the bad ways that I know I did with some people. So maybe that's why it's remained. But, yeah, the sisterhood, it is magic.
And do you feel like you can just call your oldest friend and just say it how it is?
No, she's not that friend to me. Although I could say she would support me if I said I'm outside your house, I've pooed my pants. She'd say, come on in. I could say it. I just don't. That she's not that friend to me.
Who is that friend for you? I mean, you can always say that to me.
No, you
no judgment ever.
I know I could, but you know my friend Michelle. You met her on Masked Singer.
Yes.
She's like my friend that I could tell, and she would be like, that is despicable, but come in here and I'll help you.
That is despicable. You are 41.
Yes.
You are right. I'm 50, and I've had people in this podcast studio that are 60 and 70, and it's fascinating, the phases, because there is like a fairly standard routine of awakenings and, all of that sort of stuff, the realizations. You are right on track for the what I call what the fuck is going on. So I want to know, in your life right now, WTF is going on?
I have no idea what is going on. Like, I've stopped working really because my husband's working and he's away. So I'm full-time solo parenting. I don't know what is going on with my life at all. My days, I sleep in the bed with my 3-year-old in his bunk. I have no time to myself. There's no self-care. I've lost all sense of ambition. Like, it's a real, question mark over my whole life. And I've always felt very clear about everything, and now everything is just mashed potato. And I don't know what to do about that. I was like, maybe I should just take one of the jobs that I'm being offered and go back to work because, to try and find my way back. But I don't know where I'm going back to, or, I'm trying to find the person that I used to be, but she's gone. She dead.
Does it feel like she's just hiding for a bit?
No. The person I used to be was I used to be so, I would sleep 12 hours a night, and any less I couldn't function. I would wake up and have a bath and soak for a while. I'd do whatever the hell I wanted with my time. And now if I have a spare I used to hate things like getting my nails done or getting my legs waxed or whatever. Now that is considered a holiday to the Maldives.
Yes. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah. I'll be like, I'll go to the shop. I'll drive to the shop because I can have 5 minutes to listen to a podcast, something joyful for 5 minutes. And it's not to take away from the joy of motherhood, the joy of my son. Everyone clap for Juki. He brings so much joy, but the effect on my world is huge. And I guess I'm sort of stuck in that thing of he doesn't like to be around other people. He wouldn't be happy if I left him with a nanny. He gets upset if I went and did X, Y, and Z. And people are like, maybe it's okay if he's upset, rather than you spend your life painting gum nuts, It's very tricky.
It is. Oh, I really understand that last sentence you said. Maybe people have said that to me as well, my whole parenting journey. Maybe it's okay if the kids aren't happy with every little thing.
Yeah.
But that's not how I work.
I know. And his happiness means so much to me, or his comfort in the world. I want him to feel really safe and protected, and he feels that the most when he's with me. So like...
And you chose to bring him into the world, so...
That's right. And I tried really hard to bring him into the world.
I know. So you feel like you have this hardwired obligation contractually to make sure that this isn't shit for him.
That's right. I said to the big guy upstairs,
I get it.
You know, I was like, I want this baby. I will give this baby everything. If I could just, you know, make this IVF, he was an IVF baby, one embryo that I ever got.
And the big guy said, all right, I'll make it happen, but you must give me your entire identity.
Yeah, and I sold it. I sold it all.
So one embryo, that was it.
Yep. And it was a low-grade embryo. They grade them, you know, and it was like...
God, don't tell him that. Everyone clap for Dukey. Low grade?
No, a low grade, the lowest grade that they possibly implant is what he was. And I was thinking, this isn't going to work. But my husband, the eternal optimist, he was talking to my belly, you know, hello in there. And I was like, it's not going to, you know, it's like, it was annoying me because I was like, this isn't going to work. Stop getting our hopes up. And they said to me, do not do any pregnancy tests. Just wait for the blood test. But like the next day and I had been doing pregnancy tests for 4 years, always negative, and boom, straight away positive.
Because you did that even though they told you not to do it.
Of course.
Of course, I would have too.
Of course, I did it 100 and they were all positive. And there he was, claps for Dukey. He was here to stay. Like, he is a fighter, this kid. So I always think to myself, he fought to be here. He fought through being a bad embryo, a low-grade embryo. I can't now try and squash that fight
That
in
spirit,
him.
yeah.
That
was there at the moment of conception.
Exactly. That's what got him here. So if you're out there and you're the one who tries to squash it, we will find you.
Did you think, you must have thought that you were never going to have a baby?
I had to start thinking that would be a possibility, which is a really hard thing. I'm like competitive and I'm stubborn, and it's a horrible thing to go up against infertility with those qualities.
Yes.
Because you can't win, you know, like unless I think it's luck. And yeah, in the end I started saying to my husband, maybe we should use an egg donor. And he said, I'm getting worried because we're going down a path we said we'd never go down. At some point we may have to accept this isn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And that stubborn part of me was like,
I have to have this no matter how it happens.
Yeah.
See, I don't have that sort of killer instinct. I'm not competitive. And I always thought, I think you might be the first person I've actually spoken to that's had fertility issues.
really?
Yeah. But I always thought, God, if that ever happened to me, I would bow out before I even started. I just couldn't. I just know myself and I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it. I couldn't go through it.
I said I said the same thing.
Did you?
Until the day that my endo surgeon sat down opposite me. He said, now we've done some blood tests. He's typing away on his computer everything that he says, and your ovarian reserve is 0.1 and it should be 20. And I was like, so what does that mean? And he's like, that means infertile. And he does a big cheesy grin at me, infertile. And I was like, so he's smiling at me, so I start smiling back. Like,
Chrissie!
And he's going, so I recommend IVF immediately. Big grin. And I was like, so I ran out and called Rowan and I was like,
And what did he say? God, he's a good man, Rowan.
He is such a good man. I am such a psycho. I cannot believe he stayed married to me.
And 12 years I saw on Google. What were you, a child bride?
I'm an old lady.
No, I can't believe it. 12 years. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
It's a really long time.
I was 29.
A babe.
I know. It's very young. When I, looking back, I'm like, that was so young. I met him when I was 25.
You left that awful specialist's office and you called Rowan. And what was that conversation?
It's our life. It's me crying, screaming, behaving in ways that are indescribable, and him remaining calm and listening and giving comforting words. He is the person you want when the chips are down. He's who you want by his side.
So what did he say when you said, this man has said that I'm infertile? That is shocking. Oh, my God.
He said, it's okay. We'll work it out. We'll go and talk to an IVF specialist. He gives you the steps.
Just makes you go,
yeah. And he goes, we'll get through this. But he also said, and if we don't have a baby, we are enough. And I don't know if I believed him. Like, not that we weren't enough, but that I thought, I knew at that point. It wasn't until that point that I knew I needed to be a mum. Up until then, I'd been a bit wishy-washy, which is why I waited till I was 35. I was like, maybe, I don't know. I love my career. I love my job. I'm like a big actress doing poops in trailers. But at that moment when he said, you can't have a baby, maybe it's just that stubborn part of me.
That's it.
I was like, yes, I can.
Yeah. It wasn't until you were told no.
Yeah. Terrible.
Claps for Dukey.
You were born because Mummy was a stubborn bitch. She wouldn't be told no. But anyway, that IVF journey is brutal.
How long was yours?
4 years.
What would you say to somebody that's just had that conversation with that awful specialist that has gone, you are infertile? What is your one piece of advice from the end of it?
I say to people, I reach out to people if I know they're in that position, because it's like a club that you don't want to be in, you know. But I say there is nothing you can do or not do that will change that outcome. So if you happen to have a coffee, which they tell you, I could have 3 coffees a week, and they tell you to do the acupuncture and the Chinese herbs and this, that and the other, the negative thoughts, you have to think positively. But sometimes, like when that embryo was implanted, I was like, this isn't going to work. So I say to people, but it did work, and my negative thoughts had no impact. So do not blame yourself. There is so much shame and embarrassment and like that female thing. That's what we're supposed to be able to do, and my body wouldn't do it. And there's so much shame around it. So don't add on top of that, oh, well, I thought negatively this month, so and I didn't believe, and I had another coffee and I had a glass of wine. That is not going to impact one way or the other. I mean, sure, it may get you to your optimum place where getting pregnant will work. But
really, a negative thought?
I mean,
who's saying that? That's nuts.
It is nuts. And that's what take that bit of pressure off, because there's enough pressure.
And also, when you feel bad about yourself and like a failure, anything constitutes a negative thought.
That's right.
You know, oh, I didn't get time to get the chicken fillets for tonight. Oh, I'm bad.
Yeah. I'm a bad woman. I'm not fitting into that female stereotype that Chrissie is with 3 loaves of bread on the go every morning.
I think I am a bad woman.
No.
Yeah.
Why do you think that?
I just do whatever I like.
Yeah, that's why you're the best woman. I know. They don't like women like that, do they?
No.
They want us to just be that smiling, sweet little, I'm not that woman.
You are not that woman.
I don't want to be that woman.
Yuck. I don't want to be that woman either.
But maybe I was that woman until I realised they didn't want us to be anything but that woman, and that stubborn part of me was like, no, I don't have to shut up and, pretend I don't fart.
Or block toilets.
Well, that man up there, wherever he is, who had to unblock it, he knows. He knows who I really am.
I'm just looking at you now. You are magical.
I feel the same about you. You really are.
No.
Yeah. Chrissie, you are. Like, you're beloved.
You're a very special person, Christie Whelan-Browne.
That's why we're besties.
You mentioned earlier that you listened to my episode on the Imperfects podcast, which is a fabulous podcast that we both love. And I listened to yours as well. And I recommend it to anybody who's listening to this. Get onto it. It was amazing. You did an impersonation of your mother on that podcast, and I cannot tell you the shivers of physical delight that went through my body. You are one of the greatest actors of our time. You are so funny. Can you please have a look at these articles? You know who's helped me with this little segment that I'm doing with you, Christie Whelan-Browne, is my 12-year-old Kit. He was sitting on the couch last night and I said, can you just do a little bit of producing for Mummy's podcast, please?
What a darling.
What a darling. I said, go through these crass and tacky magazines and just pick out any article that you feel like you would want to talk to Mama about, who's my mum. And he has come up with a little selection, and I want you to choose one or two, or just see what, your mum would say if she was flicking through this magazine, sitting up at the breakfast bar in her kitchen.
Well, this first one should say 60 years in the buff. That is ridiculous. That is disgusting. Put some clothes on. But June Campbell Tong, who's 80, that's ridiculous. Oh, God, no one wants to see that. June said that shedding her clothes helped her shed her inhibitions. Oh, imagine the boobs on June. Imagine the boobs on June.
Well, you don't need to imagine the boobs on June. I'm looking at them now.
I'm actually, Christie just thinks June is incredible. She's got the fern right there tickling her on the bottom, on the bare bot. June says, I'm not sure I can do this, feeling physically sick. You'll be fine, Bruce replied. Well, clearly Bruce is the one who wants her in the nude.
Absolutely. Bruce wants June all over his eyeballs. Just you talking about her boobs then. I want to go back to my New Year's resolutions because, I'm all over the shop like a mad woman's breakfast. On my resolutions note, I have written down on the end of that in my phone some little things that the kids have said to me over the years, which are unrelated to the resolutions, but I was delighted to see. These are comments from my daughter. From the side, your moustache looks very big. Do you want another one?
Yes.
Mum, your farts are always muffled like there's a silencer attached.
Your kids are comedic geniuses.
Like there's a silencer attached.
Oh, my God.
And this is the one that reminded me of poor old June Campbell Tong, 80. Your boobs look like bananas.
They are genius. And the fact you've written them down. Your notes there's a book in your notes section of your phone. A bestseller.
Your boobs look like bananas.
Are they brown on the ends?
They're the organic ones, red on the ends. One of my favourite things that my kids have ever said about my body is I was getting out of the shower and I can't remember which one of them it was. There's so many. God. And I was getting out of the shower and I think it might have been Kit. He said, oh, I love your long boobs. And I just thought, there's so much about that I love. But the choice of the adjective long is probably not what you want in a boob.
Yeah,
and yet
he loves them.
He loves them.
What age do you stop going in on each other in the nude? Or you still see all your kids in the nude?
We are very free and easy family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm nude all the time. And not intentionally. It's just because, my clothes are somewhere else.
I distinctly remember being at an age where, there was pubic hair beginning to grow and my gran came into the bathroom while I was in the bath and I remember rolling over to cover.
No one can see this.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing. But my gran was like, oh, sorry. I remember that. I remember nothing. It's like I've got a problem. I have no memories, but I remember that. And I think, that's when embarrassment begins and it's not nice. Grass on the pitch. Is that what they call it? When you start to grow pubes?
Grass on the pitch.
I think so.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, well, had it.
No, my kids are at the kitchen table, look how hairy I am.
Mm-hmm. So you've created that environment. That's mum.
I did not have that environment.
Me either.
I got my first period on Christmas Eve and I remember I didn't know that it had happened. And my sister said, have you pooed your pants? I was like, no, I don't think so. No, what? How awful.
I got my first one in January in the summer holidays down at our caravan at Ocean Grove. And I just took the undies off, hid them in my bunk and ran off to the beach. And my mum obviously found the undies and called me to say, is there something you want to tell me? And it was like,
no,
clearly
not.
Clearly not, because I've stuffed them at the bottom of the bunk. But that way of is there something you want to tell me? As opposed to
don't make me say it.
Yeah.
I'm 12. Something very
12.
bad has happened to me.
I was 12. Horrendous.
Do you remember having to teach yourself how to use a tampon? Oh, my God.
I don't even remember.
Oh, there was a little fold-out diagram.
Yeah.
And it was close the door, put one foot on it, and then you're just reading the fine print. Okay, put 1 foot on the toilet seat. And then it's like a cross-section of vagina hole.
Yeah. But I didn't know which hole. I knew there were 3 from Dolly Doctor.
Oh, how good was Dolly Doctor?
I used to, that was all we had.
It's the best.
You had to wait every month and hope that the question you had was on the page.
Yes.
I was never good with following instructions, so I just had to go for it. But I don't really remember. I guess it happened. I remember my friend in that probably the next summer along, we went down to the beach and she had a pad with wings on with her bathers. And I said, you're not supposed to. Again, This is me, not in the sisterhood. I was like, you're not supposed to put the pad on with bathers. And she said, no, my mum said it's okay.
You're right. I think that's an example of being for the sisterhood. Yeah, her mum is wrong.
I know.
You do not wear pads with wings with bathers.
But it was my judgmental tone. Rather than be like, girl, no, your mum stitched you up. I was like, you're not. We can see the wings poking out. It's the judgment. No one wants to feel judged.
No.
Especially about their period.
And on that note, Christie Whelan-Browne, see you in a month.
Oh, bye.
Maybe you'll be ovulating.
No, I've stopped my periods. I don't get them anymore.
I hate you.
No more wings for me.
No more wings. Go the sisterhood, yeah! Check out Christie in her latest show, Life in Plastic, at the Adelaide Cabaret Festival. It's on June 2024. And, of course, she'll be back here at the compound in a month or so. And follow the ChrissieCast on Insta and Facebook for who's coming up. I know 2 things for sure. 1, going to just love the next episode. And 2, I love your company. Till next time, ChrissieCasters.